Yep, he takes his lattes tall, but he likes his houses tiny. It's a tiny house edition of the Tom Kelly Show.
The Tom Kelly Show. Everybody, I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know about the Tom Kelly Show.
All right, Abby, you up for having company?
Keep that money coming.
Not
Keep
yet.
that money.
Then we'll just talk to the dog.
I like.
I am recording, yes. What's that?
I just rejected you on film at the end.
You just rejected me. There's no room in the inn. I feel like this is just like what happened to Jesus.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And you know what's funny too? Your microphone isn't working, so that's a good chance to pause and check it. All right, let's see. Where's the opening shot? Where's the opening shot? Where's the opening shot? And here we go. Content warning. Spoiler alert. Oh my gosh, look at those houses. They're so tiny. You are experiencing an on the road in a tiny house edition of the Tom Kelly Show. You know, so this is the podcast where me, Tom Kelly, a comedian who is sick about whining about his life, gets back to the basics of having fun. And I've really said about my social media feed, which has, you know, been exploding in the ratings with my Long Island content, that I'm not a Long Island comedian making fun of Long Island. I am a travel show. I am a comedic travel show that just doesn't go anywhere exciting. And I'm in a town outside of Aurora, New York. I'll figure that out in a minute. I'm visiting my friend Abby, with whom I worked as a male mermaid. She was a female mermaid at Weeki Wachee Springs. We'll see if she even wants to talk about that. And she's an old friend at this point. You know, I've known her 19 years. And Abby's one of those friends where she's had the balls to chase all of her crazy little travel dreams. She and her wife or partner, Katie, own a farmhouse over there, and they put 2 tiny houses on the property to rent out as Airbnbs. And you know what do you say I get inside with her, and we talk about, I'm listening to a rooster or some sort of an awesome crow. And yeah, I'm on a tour. I'm driving around in the Jeep biking. I've gone to 3 different places. I've been in Kennett Square, PA with Brian Kist and Dan Stanton, crashing a golf trip there. I visited my cousin's cousin, going to Scranton, PA yesterday. And last night, or that's 2 days ago now. And then last night I saw the eclipse with Abby, and I stayed in her tiny house. So we're going into the bigger of her 2 tiny houses. And by the way, she has 5 stars on AirBNB. 5 stars. What do you say we talk to her about that right now? It's so I'm already in the tiny house. Abby, being the awesome host, is up in the first sleeping loft making the bed. Abby, poke your head out, poke your head out. There you go. Look at her. Ooh, look, there she is. Yeah. So Abby is living the life of being a hoteler. And I'm going to set up the tripod here. Well, it is. It's a weird little side hustle, right? Are you loving it?
I'm loving it. This place is awesome, and I love that people get to come up here and see the area and stay in my little tiny house.
So let's start slow. Do we want to tell people how we know each other?
I think you should. Give them some context.
Well, I told them that you and I had performed together in a live mermaid show down at Weeki Wachee Springs, Florida. Okay. Though I feel like last night when we were at a party with your friends, none of your friends know you were ever a professional mermaid.
Well, I think some of my friends know. Quite a few of them know, but I think there's also a big population up here that is unaware of my mermaiding past.
Well, and I felt like there was a moment where I was about to out you as a mermaid.
Well, you could have outed me, but usually what happens when I'm at a party and somebody mentions me being a mermaid, it becomes the only thing we talk about. And I just didn't want to take the spotlight from the solar eclipse yesterday.
Okay, no, and to be fair, when I talk about my experience as a merman, I get kind of the same thing. And I also find that people don't get it, and that takes some of the fun out of talking about it.
People that don't get it are still really interested. They think, I get a lot of, especially with New York crowds that are used to performance art, I think they think that's like burlesque adjacent.
And it is. Actually, I'm reading, and what's funny is I've been reading a book by my third or fourth cousin, Hugh Ryan, When Brooklyn Was Queer, which is about the gay history of Brooklyn, or the queer history of Brooklyn. One of the things was the Coney Island Freak Shows was a place for burlesque and gay, and the early congregations of homosexual people to get together were at the weird burlesque sort of things. So yeah, and especially when you're telling, I don't know, Long Island people who don't get it or don't get things, you're right, it does dominate a conversation.
Yeah, I think what you've also just said is that I missed my chance at running a freak show. Like, I could have been a headliner.
But here's what I was telling the audience before I walked in here with you. Is what I've always kind of loved about you is every time you've had a dream or felt like having a transition, you chased it. I guess the first question is, who is Abby? And yeah, who is Abby Anderson? Like in one sentence, is there like if someone said, who are you, without asking you what you do or anything crazy like that, what would you tell them?
I have never given a lot of thought to this, but I guess I would just keep it simple and say, I'm just a nice girl from New Mexico. That's my simple answer.
You know, but you're also like, you're a hustler. That is one word I would put on you. Like you've been AirBNBing since the gosh darn beginning of it.
Oh yeah, I would say I've been Airbnb for 12 years. I was doing it when everybody thought it was crazy, but I saw the value in it. So I do think I'm a nice girl from New Mexico who's a natural-born hustler.
So the way I describe your Airbnb experience was you were living in New York City, and before you met your partner, you had 3 roommates in a very dark, if I recall, small West Village apartment, but you were living the dream of being in the West Village. Which is so much more of a party neighborhood than where you lived before that on the Upper West Side, where I live. And what happened was you had 2 roommates, one dropped out, so you just turned one of their rooms into a hotel room.
Essentially, yeah, exactly right. So one of my roommates went to Australia for work for like a 6-month period of time, and we Airbnb'd it. And then I was traveling periodically, and I realized if I'm going to travel for 2 weeks, in Manhattan, in the West Village, I can rent out my room and basically pay for my trip. So it started that way, and before you knew it, the other 2 roommates had left. I was the only person whose name was on the lease. So I rented out the rooms. I actually moved to Seattle and continued renting out the Airbnb successfully. And then, the rest is history. I capitalized on that while I could. And now that I'm here, I'm doing the same thing, and it's just much easier with the tiny houses.
So my thing with you, when you were renting out the Airbnb in New York City, and I'm going to come up to see you make the bed. Is that okay?
Yeah, let me make sure my pants are pulled up.
Oh, geez.
I mean, I don't want butt cracks on your podcast, Tom, but short of that, yes.
Okay, well, good. Hang on, I'll walk up the stairs. By the way, we should do the real tour, too, but since we're chatting and you're still making beds.
Oh, we'll do the real tour. I need you to see the Murphy bed.
Oh, my God, we did. Look at this little sleeping... See, now the one I'm in is a little more tight than this one, but we'll talk about that in a second. But you made a living on Airbnb.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Right, because at one point, you were renting out the apartment, or you were renting out 2 other beds, and the other 2 people were paying your rent at a certain point, right?
That's correct.
And then you started turning a profit, and you'd still have that apartment if it weren't for the pandemic.
That's true. I mean, I basically lived in the West Village for free because I worked it out where the other rooms that would be rented would basically pay for the entire rent. And it was a crowd of NYU students would frequently stay, grad students would stay, professionals, and it was still so much less expensive to stay in my apartment than it was to stay in the dorms. So I had a lot of people that way.
Now, did you have any did you ever have a creepy experience? No, or a bad experience?
I had a lot of interesting people. I don't think I had a creepy experience. I definitely had people who were incapable of handling keys and constantly locked themselves out of the apartment. But I did come home one day with a naked guy asleep on my couch. He seemed to be attractive from what I could see, but I walked in and it was just ass and balls on my couch. But he must have come home with the female renter that was there, and they had quite a night. I don't remember where we were, but we walked in and there was just this male body stretched out on the couch. So, like, I don't know, Sodom and Gomorrah, maybe while we were gone, but, you know, that's the risk you run.
Wait, Sodom and Gomorrah? What does Sodom and Gomorrah mean? That means, like, crazy sex?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
you know...
I mean, we're just talking living room sex. That's not Sodom and Gomorrah.
I'm not saying they turned to pillars of salt, but it seemed like quite a party was had there, so they just
Okay,
had a
gotcha.
Good time.
Gotcha.
But it was really funny because I always thought, you know, well, it was just funny because my take on it was, well, I guess I have to burn the couch. These two randos had sex on it. But, you know.
Actually, that's a great question. Is it wrong to have sex in an Airbnb?
No, you should. I guarantee that's what most people are doing when they come here.
Really?
Oh, it's tons of couples. They're getting away. It's tight quarters. You know, like, it is a romantic destination, and this is a cute, cozy little spot. Sex is being had. Now, I am cool with the bed. I can wash the sheets in hot water and the comforter, but you know what I can't wash? My couch.
Okay, so that's a great question now. So you can have sex in an Airbnb,
Of course.
but you shouldn't have sex in the living room.
Don't have sex on anything that can't easily be cleaned.
But what if I had sex on something that couldn't be cleaned and nobody knows I had sex on it and I didn't get it dirty?
I mean, you have to follow your conscience because there's no way for me to track.
Okay, but this is a great question. But following your conscience, don't have sex in the common areas of an Airbnb, or put a tarp out.
Yeah, bring a sex tarp. What is
Bring
what I'm
your
saying.
sex tarp.
if we're gonna have sexual activities in shared areas or on a nice piece of furniture that cannot easily be cleaned, bring a sex tarp.
Okay, bring your sex tarp. By the way, that will be the name of this episode, the sex tarp.
I also think maybe I'm going to start retailing those.
So, oh my God, that'd
Like
be
for
funny.
guests who forget a toothbrush, I accommodate them with a toothbrush, a couple of other things, and now I'm going to have sex tarps on hand.
So you were actually, that's a great question about accommodating guests. Mm-hmm. You saved the whole damn trip. We are in, what town are we in?
Aurora.
We are in Aurora?
New York. Yeah.
Is this Aurora?
Yes. We're not in the village, we're in the town of Aurora, which means we have a little more freedom. The village is quaint, really fun for people to visit, but there's more fun out here. Have a big bonfire and drinks with your friends.
So the cops aren't going to show up if you murder the person you had love with
I feel like
on the sex.
murder would be bad for my reviews.
No, murder would be
But-
the.
But short of that, no, the cops would show up if we were too rowdy. But there's not the same amount of zoning. Sound ordinances don't exist up here. However, we love our neighbors. We love this community, so we're polite. And we've never had guests that have gotten rowdy. But you can run around out back, and we've got acres of land. So you can have a bonfire, make a little bit of noise, and no one's going to be bothered.
Oh, so this is a really chill Airbnb.
Super chill. Yeah,
Now, are you on the same account as when you were in New York City?
I am.
So that's why you have the high ratings.
Actually, I have the high ratings because of these Airbnbs.
Why? Well, now, that's a great question. Because actually, you inspired the radio question, which if I were throwing this out to like a call-in radio show, the question would be, what do you have 5 stars at, and what's your secret? You are a 5-star Airbnb-er. What's your secret?
Communication, and I really think we go above and beyond without being intrusive. Like, I love this area. So I don't just promote my house. I try to promote all the local area businesses. So I promote a lot of local businesses. So not chains. So there's not a suggestion I'm going to give you that's going to be a chain. There are local wineries, local breweries, distilleries. There's an incredible farmers market here, artisan markets, great swimming holes and hiking spots. And there's just so much going on here. And this is the kind of place where you can come and go get great wine, beer, food. But also the farm over there across the road is the one where you can get eggs for $2.50 and you can get fresh chickens that were raised there, free range. Same thing. I got a beef guy over here and then I've got a pork person.
I didn't know that. Really? You have a free-range chicken guy?
Oh, before you go back to the city, I should load you up with some frozen chickens. You'll
Okay.
thank me. But it's just unlike any other place. So that's part of it. I don't want people to stay in my tiny house as much as I want them to have an experience of the area because I love this area.
And that's your 5-star rating?
I think so.
Are you 5-star, 5 stars?
Oh, I'm 5 stars, 5
5.0.
Yes.
You're not 4.999999 averaging up.
I'm 5. I just got super host yet again. But the other thing, too, is I joke. People come up here with an agenda. Some people are coming here because they want to get away and just relax. Some people are coming to do the wine trail. Some people are going to the spa. And there's a lot of weddings in this area. But when they have a little extra time, for those who actually listen to my suggestions that I send and follow them, they always have a great time. Like the restaurants I suggest, the secret hiking spots that I suggest are all awesome, and it's part of the magic of the area, which you don't immediately know about by Googling it.
Right.
So I think that's part of it. Those folks always comment, and we have a guest book on top of Airbnb reviews. And the guest book is a little more, I think they go a little more in detail because they feel connected to us. And part of the shtick is Katie and I live here. And we're just two nice gals running an Airbnb. We'll help you out when you need it, but we give you your space entirely. And we've got two dogs that add to this whole like country
I
life.
do. I'll be honest. I really, being able to play catch with your dog has been soothing.
I know. I like to figure out a way to lend her out to people that I could trust.
So wait, so when you messaged I could throw the ball to Daisy, was that a favor to me or a favor to Daisy?
A favor to both of you. I thought you both needed each other.
All right, so let's chat here. Okay. Deep human question. Maybe we'll do a second podcast and do the tour later, but I'm loving. But so
I feel like we're on a sleepover. I'm in bed. You're upstairs. We're chatting.
it is cute. No, and the sun is like just right. I'm never gonna have a setting for a podcast quite like this ever. I mean, oh my God, Tom Kelly gets a woman in bed tonight on the Tom Kelly Show. But that said, I don't know if I want to go down the dreamy aspect of it. Like, you've sort of always been a landlord for the 20 years I've known you. Do you have a big vision for life? Do you want to be a property mogul? Because here's the thing. When I met you down on the west coast of Florida, never did I have a dream you would move to the most rural part of New York that I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I do kind of dream of being a multi-property owner. I mean, I have my place in Austin that I've had for a million years, which I kind of forget about because it's so far removed, but I like it. I think for me, this is also my retirement plan, like doing something I like. I understand real estate. I understand construction. I can do maintenance on my own for the most part. And if not, I got a guy.
Right.
And so being able to get a little bit older and have passive income coming in on top of my regular job is good. But it's also great because I could have invested this money in our house and added an extra room, an addition for company. But what's really nice is when you have company that stays with you, but like 100 yards away from you.
Oh, I'm enjoying being 100 yards away.
Right. You have your own bathroom, you have your own little kitchenette, you've got your own shower, everything you need is there. And the nice thing is that we can rent it and make money. But even if we stop doing the Airbnb thing, we have tons of company that come up here all the time because it is such a great area and we are close enough to the city and there's enough here that people want to do that we have people coming up all the time. So this is a really good alternative. But I think it's a lot of fun. For me, it's something I understand. So I think at some point I will get a little too old to be in here making this bed. But maybe I'll get lucky enough. This would be a dream. If we get lucky enough that we can employ people to do work.
Like when I knew you in Florida, I totally saw you going to New York City.
Yeah.
And I saw you hopping around the country. But I don't think I ever saw you retiring to the Finger Lakes with your wife who isn't your wife.
Right. Well, I blame my wife that isn't my wife for me not hopping around the country.
Okay, so now, that's a great question. Now, is hopping around the country still in your blood?
Yes.
Or did you give that up?
No. I don't give up anything. I definitely have not given that up.
But you're laying down roots.
Yeah, well, okay, so this is another thing that I like about the tiny house and where I live, and kind of always been my mental strategy forever. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it happened. But when I was living in Austin, I had a great life. I had great friends. And I lived in downtown. And then I got bored. But because I had this cool condo in a cool location, I could rent it out. So by renting it out, it meant I get to go somewhere else until I figure out if I'm going to come back here. So same thing with New York City. I lived in the West Village. I could always rent it out. When I lived in Seattle, I lived in a great place. I could rent it out. And now here, we can rent this out because people want to come here and we have the spa down the road. We have the lake right over here. So you'll know hell has frozen over when I move to a suburb and I live in a cul-de-sac. That will never happen. There's like no vision there. So if I had the opportunity and I could get my partner to join me on a cross-country road trip, we could manage this. I'd be able to get somebody to help out and run this, and I could get some college kids to actually live in the primary house to take care of the dogs, which we did for about 6 months when we lived in Texas during the pandemic. And then I would hit the road. I feel like everything is doable because, as I told you, Katie and I are what they call dinks. Did I tell you?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, but I
It's a fun
learned the term, but it's funny. On the dating app, I saw the term dink. Dink is dual income, no kids. So there was a woman on the dating app who said she had a fantasy of being in a dink. And then, so that makes me a sink, single income, no kids. And the joke that I've tried to make that has not worked is zero income, no kids, oink. Because that's an you see, like if you, it's funnier if you write it.
I think it's actually really good.
Okay, the oink. Do you you know, I have an oink fantasy, or I guess what I'm saying is I am a sink with dink fantasies and oink nightmares.
I think it's like you're a zero income, and then when you give people the zero first, and then you say you're an oink, then I could see it. For a minute, I had to picture like what. It's not gonna catch on. It's a work in progress. We're gonna test it out tonight. We're gonna test it out tomorrow.
But you're gonna be a dinker. It's just you're a dink with dogs.
Yes. Oh, actually, no. There's another one. Dual income, no kids. Tinkles.
By the way, doesn't and it does. When I say it like that, it just sounds like it sounds like twink. Like it sounds like which is like skinny gay guy, which is sort of a sexual term, right? Or not really, but it is.
Well, no, I mean a twink is a very specific sexual term for a gay man describing a gay man,
or body type.
Right, body type and appearance and.
But it was considered offensive at times, but now it's not, right? Like I feel like
it's used pretty commonly, but I don't know
nowadays.
the authority on this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I hope I'm not getting canceled for this.
No, I don't think so. Well, when somebody called me a dink for the first time, I thought, surely this is offensive. But no. I was like, okay, tell me. And then somebody else said dinkle. Dual income, no kids, lesbians. There's something with dogs. There's a
dual income, no dingdle.
Dinkle. Dual income,
no
kids, lesbians. Oh, little dogs. Dinkled. Maybe it was dinkled.
Okay, yeah, little dog though sounds cute.
Dual income, no kids, lesbians, little dogs. Except our dogs are medium, but that doesn't work.
Or dual income, no kids, lesbians, dogs.
Yeah.
There we go.
Dinkled.
And if that's not what it stands for, that's what we're making it stand for.
And I hope we haven't offended anybody if that stands for something
I like it. So I guess here's the question. Do you see yourself here at age 80? And are you okay with that?
You know, I am surprised by the fact that I'm not bored living here. What I miss about the city is getting food of every kind delivered to my door within minutes. I miss that. But here we're not bored because I feel like I have a very robust social life. Right?
You do, and you let me in on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got a lot of friends who plan on being dinkles as well. And for the ones that have kids, there's something different about life up here. Like, we're still outside, we're still hanging out. We go to the brewery, we go to the winery weekly. There's great food and bars close by in Ithaca. So I'm not bored. So will I be here at 80? Outside of New York City, it's the only place that I've wanted to stay.
Okay.
But that is to say that I think, oh my God, this is going to sound I'm going to sound so pretentious.
No, but we're looking for that here. It's okay.
Right, fine.
You're in a safe space.
Am I?
This is where dinkles thrive.
Right, dinkles thrive here on Tom's show. This is so cheesy, but I think life is meant for living. So I will not be here until I'm 80 and not experiencing anything else. So I will continue to travel. I will continue to experience and do stuff. There's too many places on my list for me to stop now. So all of my previous jobs for the last 15 years, I've traveled for work, and I'm doing less of that now. So I'm integrating. I also write all the policy at my job, so I'm making sure everybody gets more vacation time.
Okay.
So my intention is to go and do and continue to do. And thankfully, I've got really good friends here, and many of them still have connections to the city, and they're all travelers. It's the birds of a feather thing.
So, but this will be your base.
This will be the base. And it's a cool base because we can hop in a boat and go watch the sunset. And we do almost every 4th of July have a little party here because it's my birthday the day before.
Right.
In case you forgot, Tom.
I forgot. No, I didn't
You
forget.
can send presents still. But we haven't purchased the pontoon boat we want yet, but we rent one every year. And like we get 2 pontoon boats and a bunch of people, and we just go out on the lake. And there's some lake bars. But we hang out and have good food and drinks, and you swim. And you just have a good, easy time.
So I'm trying to find what advice do you give to people who are still wandering and looking for somewhere to plant their roots?
Well, I mean, if they're wandering for the sake of wandering and experience, I think that's great. I actually encourage that.
Yeah.
But if you want to set down roots, ask yourself why. Why do you want to set down roots? And what is it you're looking for? But I think, like, allow yourself to wander and allow yourself to stumble into something. And I think open mind is so cliche, but I will say I'm a city girl, and now I live here. And I had preconceived notions of what rural life would be like and the people around me. And some of those are true. But the vast majority of my experiences here are not what I expected. The people are not what I expected. Mm-hmm. So if you go anywhere in the world and you think you know more about the people, you're not going to have a good time. And if you move into any community and you think you know better than the people, they won't open their doors to you. So we moved here because we wanted to move here, not because we wanted to change it. We want to improve it. We want to help. So we listen to people. And so I volunteer at a nonprofit. Katie volunteers. And not because we want to change the community, we want to be part of it. So if you're setting down roots, set down roots and ask yourself what that means. So you want to be part of a community. You have to be open to people if you want them to be open to you. And I say that as a lesbian living in a rural town.
Right.
And I listen to everyone. And I have really good relationships with people. It's very unexpected. And everybody that's ever known me is so surprised that I live here. But I'm really happy. And I'm not bored. And also the high-speed internet really helps.
The high-speed, you know what? High-speed internet. That's not Starlink, by the way. It's not Starlink? Are we on Starlink here?
No, we're Verizon Fios, baby.
Verizon Fios helps. I think that's the answer. That's the moral we were looking for. So listen, folks, I'm going to have links to Abby's AirBNB listing in the show notes. And, if you like this podcast and you're watching it on YouTube, leave a comment. And just let me know you're watching. Listen, show love where love can be shown. Quick magic mirror. I see Pat in Chicago. Thank you for the comments you've been posting in some of the Tom Kelly Show secret fan group things. And folks, listen, new podcasts every Monday and Wednesday, except for when there's not. Good night, New York.